some men actually have this, I won't say men, I would say males. They have this odd habit, bad habit, horrible habit. Now, before you say not all men, please, I didn't say not all men, I said some males, okay? Some males. I've emphasized that 3 times already. Thank you. Now, some males have this bad habit of convincing the women in their village, in their clan, in their family, in their society that the least, like, they should be grateful to them, the males, for whatever it is they give them. Like convincing them that the least they are willing to give to their women is actually more than the best that these women deserve, and so they should be thankful and be grateful. I actually had that line put together earlier, but I don't know, I just had to explain it more, but that's about it. Like, the least they are willing, like the most, they feel that the most a woman deserves is the least they're willing to give. The fact that they're willing to give it at all, even if it's crumbs, should be taken as if it's the best thing that the woman will ever get. And so when a man who looks better, who has finance, has class, is hardworking, is humble, comes in to that same place and sees a queen in a woman that has been treated and seen as a glorified slave all her life, it's no wonder that she falls in love with him, and then they get married. And this man who comes in thinking that nobody's going to find fault in me because I'm not going to mistreat their women. But you see, what they don't understand is that these males who have convinced these women of that they are worthless, would hate this new man because now he had made them look like a liar. Hello, and welcome to another episode. This is the Musings of a Sanguine Christian Woman. I am Adeolua, and in today's musings, I ought to be doing something else, but I just wanted to see what was going on my timeline on Twitter, and I happened to see a tweet where it was reported that Nigerian men were being arrested for, and quote, impregnating Kenyan women, that they were stealing their women from them. And so the police would just arrest them there, and the women claim that the Nigerian men, they married them and they're spoiling them. They didn't even say they're taking good care. They're spoiling them. And that is the problem right there. The Nigerian man had the audacity to come in there and convince the Kenyan woman that she's more important than they feel that their women are. And here is the thing. They feel like they own Kenyan women. And this is not the first time. The same thing happened in South Africa and in some other places. Now, I can't even say it's not true that Nigerian men would go to another country just impregnating the women. But that is something that some of them would do in Nigeria. But Nigerian men are highly intelligent. Nigerians generally are highly intelligent and very clever. We also know how to read the room. Unfortunately, we don't understand the psychology of people in a domain. So we think that we know what to do to get people to like us. On a normal day, sometimes I think Nigerian men just see themselves the way they see they see Kenyan men, and that's the thing. Like, a typical Nigerian sees every other African as their brother and their sister. Every other African as brother and sister. So they feel like we, by virtue of living on the same continent, we don't have much of any difference. But apparently we do. Because a Nigerian man, he might not like you, really. But as long as you are taking good care of his sister, he's fine. He's okay. You understand? As long as his sister is happy, he's fine. You understand? He might not gel with you like that. But if you do a Nigerian man's sister or something anyhow, that is where the wahala will be. But apparently it's not the same thing with South Africa and Kenya, right? It seems that they have a problem with the fact that their women prefer Nigerian men. Their women. I have a problem with that one. Their women. Like, are Kenyan men or Kenyan authorities, and if I'm wrong, please come out and make an official statement, because I'm hearing that you're arresting Nigerian men for next to nothing. And please, don't bring up these stories of they did a criminality, because I know some of them act like that, but the thing about Nigerian men is that they want to, if they want to stay somewhere, they always make sure that their reputation is squeaky clean. If they want to stay somewhere, they make sure that their reputation is squeaky clean. If a Nigerian man intends to wreak havoc or to do something bad in a place, he already has an exit plan. So before you even know what he's about, he's done what he's going to do and he's gotten out fast. It will take you a while before you know that it was a Nigerian that did it. The act of cowardice I don't understand is you now grabbing any other Nigerian you see to say, well, a Nigerian did it, a Nigerian must pay for it. That is against the law of nature. That's against the law of nature. Whatever it is, your laws, even if it's written in your constitution that you make an innocent person pay for the crime of another by virtue of the fact that they come from the same country. You had ancestors. They had rules, they had laws. If you desecrate your land with injustice, you think you have problems now? You have worse problems. Not because the people you hurt wish you ill, but because the ground, the earth on which you do what you do, the air you breathe in to do what you do, will now begin to wage war against you. So if you think that Nigerian men are taking your women, what is so wrong? And I know me saying this might be a waste of time, really, but I will still say it anyway. I said it might be a waste of time because when a person has determined to be wicked, there is no talking to them. But for some of you who think that this is normal, it isn't. You just learn how to be a better man. That's all. Sometimes that is the purpose of we mixing among ourselves, we trading, is that we get to see a world beyond ours. We get to see how to do things differently. And then we say, wow, this is a nice culture. This is a nice way to have it. Let's add this to what we already have. And by the time you add the good of the North, the good of the South, the good of the West, you add it to your own culture based on commerce, on what you learned when you are traveling and doing commerce with people from other tongues, countries and continents, and you take these values and you add it to yours, it makes you a stronger people, a better people, more formidable. That is one thing I think helped Ethiopia withstand a lot of invasions that crumbled so many other African civilizations. So many other black civilizations crumbled. But Ethiopia, they still managed to They might not be on their feet completely now, but compared to other African black dynasties, they are ahead of their time. And how do I know this? My Bible tells me that their monarchs, some of their monarchs sought knowledge, sought understanding. They went after it. There was the Queen of Sheba, who heard that there was a wise man somewhere. And she took her camels with gifts, went there, tested him with questions to see if he was as wise as they say. She didn't send someone, she went there. And when she saw that, this man is actually smart, and she gave him the gifts. So she went there to purchase knowledge. And of course, history outside of the Bible tells us that they had a brief relationship, if you may, and a son came from it. That was not the point though. But she went so far to get knowledge. The same thing, that was the Old Testament. The New Testament, however, a high-ranking official of the Queen of Ethiopia at that time was coming to Israel because he could not understand the book of Isaiah. And God sent one of the Holy Spirit, sent one of the disciples to go and explain things to him. He got baptized. And from then, I believe that was how Christianity landed in Ethiopia. That was like the first missionary. Like it's very rare for the missionary to be an indigene of that land that always lived there. Like someone would just go and say, you know what, I'm going to seek what this new religion or faith is about. Like there's something, like it's like they read the scriptures and they knew that there was a prophecy about the coming Christ. And I guess they calculated it and thought, Christ must have come by now. But I don't understand how that is going to be. Like, it's like they were following up on what they have read in the scriptures, in the Old Testament, for them to even know that the Messiah had come. Something that the people of Israel, obviously did not believe or accept. And Ethiopian knew that. And he came based on the scriptures in his hand to seek answers. That is how you grow. Not by, I don't know, teaching, making yourself the king of your pond, just so that you can have perverted access to your women. Like I said, Nigerian men can be a bit randy, but they don't do that abroad. Once they step out of the country, they become perfect gentlemen, most of the time, because they are afraid of being deported. Of course, usually the best of Nigerian men are usually the ones that travel abroad. That's the thing. Like 90%, give or take, let's say between 70 or 80% of Nigerian men who travel abroad are the best of Nigerian men who travel abroad. And when I say abroad, out of the country, they are the best of Nigerian men because they are confident in their own morality, that they can live anywhere and be safe. They are confident that I don't have the bad habits that some of my country people have, so I can thrive anywhere. And so they go to these places only for them to encounter issues, because the men there have told their women they can never have better. And these Nigerian men are showing them love. They're showing them better, and they're like, I never knew that I would deserve something like this, or I would be treated this way by a man that is very handsome at that, hardworking, and he's taking care of me. There aren't that many women abroad who have bad things to say. There are, and I understand that. But there aren't that many. A lot of them, when the issue of South Africa happened, there are some women who came online and they were like, leave Nigerian men alone. Leave them alone. Like, you're hating on them because we're going to them, and it's because they're taking care of us. I'm a woman. I can't. I'm a woman in the sense that I think it's just kindergarten behavior to be jealous that the women, the men in your country seem to be treating other women better. But I think it's also a good thing that women from other countries can vouch for your men and say they're good. So they have it in them to behave well. So that means that we back home will tell them that, well, act better, behave better. Because you can. And you will. But that's by the way. I want Kenyan women to please come out and say something about what is going on. Is it true? Because I'm sorry, with all due respect, I don't believe the Kenyan government, the Kenyan police, about this talk about impregnating their women. Like, I don't believe that. If a Nigerian man wants to impregnate somebody, he will have run away. Are you kidding? If he just wanted to impregnate a woman or a girl, you will never find him to catch. He already has his exit plan before he even starts to move towards the girl in question. He already has his exit plan. Like I said, they're intelligent. I just wish that a lot of them used the bad ones among the few bad ones among Nigerian men would actually use their intelligence for something that has to do with nation building. Is it that Nigerian men are impregnating Kenyan women, or Kenyan men are projecting what they do to their own girls on Nigerian men? Because the same thing happened in South Africa, right? And South African men were saying that they were making their women prostitutes and making their girls and raping their girls, and people always argue that there has always been a high level of assault against sexual assault had always been on the high. Like when it comes to the country where women are the most sexually assaulted, South Africa is probably like in the top 10, and that's me being generous because I don't know the exact number. It can be top 20, top 10 in sexual assault against women. You cannot tell me how many are the Nigerian men there. You cannot tell me that all the Nigerian men that ever visited South Africa are the only ones committing these crimes. It's impossible. So that means you people are the ones doing it. So, like, gaslighting of Nigerians abroad is just, especially, like, I can get it on a level when it happens in European countries or in the Americas and all of that. But on African soil, what is this? Is it bewitchment? If you think that Nigerian men are taking your women, look, as long as they are marrying them, if they are just impregnating them, then I think that you probably need to talk to your girls and maybe deporting these men, or at least, I don't think arresting them is a good idea. I think you have to make them work to take care of what they have created. I mean, what kind of, when you arrest them now and you put them in prison, so who is going to work? Is it the father of the girl that will work to take care of both the mother and child? If you are strong enough to arrest him, you can just let him work, make an arrangement with his boss to let him know that, well, he's impregnated someone's daughter. And so we need to have funds so they can transfer funds. You have to make him work. And no cheating. Make him work. Put him to work. So that he can take care of his responsibility. And then give a stern warning. Nigerian men, they usually adjust when they do something wrong and they know it's wrong. And they are given a shaking. They either decide that, you know what, this is not where I want to stay and leave. Or they sit back down and do the right thing. Like I said, I want to hear from the Kenyan women. I'm not talking to the men, because all these impregnating their women thing, that story has been recycled in different countries so much that I don't believe it at all. I'm sorry. It's not because I think Nigerian men are perfect. Far from it. I don't think they are. But I know that they are often perfect when they are abroad. They are often perfect when they are abroad. The problem is that they become too perfect. As far as their hosts are concerned, they work too hard. They earn more money. They spend more money. And I'm thinking, he's spending that money in your economy. What is your problem? If you are not working hard enough to boost your own economy and somebody is doing the work, are you telling me he should just do the work? Not spend on himself? I don't even understand what you're talking about. It's not as if maybe Nigerian men should act like Indians and Arabs do. Asians and Arabs, how they do. They don't usually marry or touch the women in wherever it is they go. They bring their wives there. They have their wives brought to them. And chances are, before that happens, they may have played some games with the girls, with the women in that area, but they will not marry them. Half the time, more than half the time actually. But a Nigerian man, once he settles in a place, he's looking for an indigene of that place to marry. Because he intends to stay. So when your economy is benefiting from a hardworking man, the women in your community are benefiting from it. They are the ones that he's spending his money on. If he wants to spend money on women, he's spending it on the women, the indigenous of that place. And yet you still have problem. And then you really have problem. So I don't want to hear all this talk about impregnating somebody. I want the women themselves to come out and say what is really happening. And for Nigerian men, make una try know they do pass on self. If you have to be, if you are in a place where the women cannot or will not fight for themselves, ask mama to send you wife from the village before you find yourself in jail because you are being Pan-Africanists. When you pick a woman from that place and say, well, this is where I live now and I want to invest here, and you see her as the woman that you want to share your life with, if it's going to be a problem, because some men, they have already conditioned their women that they deserve nothing. They deserve the worst. Like marriage. How dare you even think of marriage? Are you kidding me? That I'm even talking to you, you should be grateful. They've conditioned them to that point, and you come in thinking that if I treat their daughters like I would have my sister treated, they would not have a problem with me. But now they have a problem with you precisely because of that. Because you're making them look like they're lying. You're making them, you are breaking the jinx and the hold that they have on these women. They've had on these women for God knows how many decades or even centuries. And you are debunking their lies. They're not finding that funny. They're not finding that funny at all. So what you can do is that if you notice that the men get hostile, the men in a place get hostile anytime you approach their daughters, no matter how well-intentioned you are. Like you say, but I want to marry your daughter, I want to marry your sister. And instead of the man being happy, he gets angrier. Like, I want to marry her by your own customs. Whatever it is you ask for in your culture, I'm willing to give it. They even get angrier, if that is even possible. Then please, leave their women alone. When their women are ready to be free, they will open their mouths, they will talk. So I'm expecting Kenyan women, now that some of you are saying that Nigerian men are pampering you, say something. I don't know, protests. Do something. Don't just sit there and expect these men. If these men have taken care of you, like some of you have said, it is your duty to protect them and let the men in your country know that they will have you to contend with if they keep harassing your man, foreigner or not. Let them know. Protect these men. They are yours now. You are the one that is their woman. You are the one they are spending on and caring for and pampering and spoiling. You've rested long enough. It's time to rise up toe to toe with your brothers and tell them what for. Unless, of course, it's actually true that Nigerian men are doing hit and run with Kenyan women. But if it's not true, and you people keep quiet and say nothing, then you must like trauma so much. And I don't think there's anything anybody else can do for you. When you find your moment of freedom, seize it with everything within you. And don't allow anyone, no matter how closely related they are to you, to put you back in the cage where you've escaped from. All right. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. You are your brother and your sister's keeper. Show love just because. Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. They that know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploits. Shalom.